Good morning, St. Lucia. Welcome once again to the studios of the National Television Network, NTN. I am Lucia Joseph on this Monday. It is October 25th, and lots happening in and around St. Lucia. We have the latest COVID numbers for you. It's also back to school for select students, and the signs of that very, very, very evident this morning, Irma. I'm here alongside Herbert DeMark as always, and Irma, especially for those who are traveling on the highway, Cassius Grocery Highway. Quite evident that school is in.
Very evident. Good morning to all of you watching. I don't know, she didn't say it, but it's also a very special day today. And so, of course, I needed to start by saying a very happy birthday to you, Lisa.
If you can't tell, I'm really grinning under the mask. But maybe you can tell because then my eyes go really teeny.
Smile with your eyes.
But, as with anything else, don't you often find that the great expectation of something, and then the moment arrives and it's just like, well, okay, whatever.
Yes, that happens sometimes,
right?
But the day has just started, so I think you should probably just wait. The excitement might just
build and build.
They might be.
I'm excited. I am very, very excited for my birthday, Earth Day. And I always think of my birth date as the start of a new year of life, and so that I am totally grateful for another lease on life, if you want to call it that. So
nice. So are there any things in particular you're looking forward to for this coming year?
Just continual growth. I think that's important. I've always been very conscious of my evolution as an individual. What is it that I can contribute to, my community, my family first, community, the nation? How do I continuously build on myself, improve on my skills? Media is a platform that I love, and I continuously want to elevate what the standard is for myself. And once I can do that, then it means that the audience, the nation, can now benefit from what those skills are. So I'm just looking forward to continue evolving.
Very nice. Well, we're happy that we are able to celebrate with you. And I think I can say that on behalf of all the staff. We love you, and we hope you have an awesome day today.
Thank you so much. What would I do without my family here
I know, right?
At the GIS/NTN. Thank you so much for that. Let's get down to business.
Yes.
And tell us what's happening with us COVID-wise.
Yes, starting with the COVID numbers, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs yesterday confirmed a total of 15 new cases. The cases were processed on Saturday at the Ezra Long Laboratory from a sample of 273 collected between October 22nd and October 23rd, 2021. This number of positive cases makes up 5.5% of all samples processed on that date, which is good. It says that our positivity rate is declining. The Ministry of Health also reports one new COVID death, and it's always unfortunate when we record a COVID death. The death occurred on October 22nd, 2021, and to date the total number of deaths in country is 184, and the number of COVID-19 related deaths is 57. All right. Confirmation was also received of recovery of 17 individuals diagnosed with COVID-19, and this brings the number of active cases in country to 400. All right, so we do see a steady decline in our COVID-19 cases, and we do hope, given the reopening of schools, that we continue to see a further decline. So, of course, the public, each one of us need to ensure that we're playing our part, we're staying safe, we're doing the necessaries to ensure that that number keeps on declining. Let's see here. Currently, one individual is in a critical state at the respiratory hospital, and there are 6 others who are severely ill. If you are looking to get vaccinated today, the places that you visit, so the VG Sports Complex, today Monday, you can visit the VG Sports Complex, and that is just opposite us right here. So also Soufriere Hospital. Vaccination will be taking place there. Labrie Wellness Center, the VA4 Parish Hall as well. COVID-19 vaccine booster doses will be available at the CSC Center in Sanssouci Castries and the Babonneau Multipurpose Center. Vaccination is scheduled at all distribution sites between 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. today, so there's an additional hour where you can get vaccinated. So that's it with COVID numbers today. And again, just ensure that you are taking the necessary protocols. Your social distancing, the reduction in cases or reduction in our numbers is not leeway for you to kind of forget the protocol. If anything, you want to strengthen it to ensure that we're keeping, those cases down. So social distancing, ensuring that you're washing your hands or sanitizing in the absence of soap and water, ensuring that you're sanitizing frequently touched surfaces, you're wearing your masks in public. And of course, we always try to encourage you to boost your immune system as much as possible. So do the necessaries for that.
Yeah, which reminds me, I haven't taken my zinc in like 3 days. So, pile up on your zinc, get your vitamin D in. The B12 is important. Vitamin B is very, very, very important in helping with that immune system as well. Vitamin C, let's get it. Not just, in that tablet form, but certainly right now we do have the fruits around, but, so make sure that you're taking it in that natural form as well, which helps. So, as Emma says, let's continue to keep ourselves boosted. And speaking of which, just picking up from where Homer left off, the government of St. Lucia is now accelerating for the Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccinations here, and it now means that they're making it more widely available. We're talking about the booster shots and so forth. So we want to go to a statement by the principal nursing officer in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs, and she is Ms. Julieta Frederick Cassius. Let's take a listen to that.
The Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs continues to review the National Plan for COVID-19 Management. The COVID-19 vaccination program forms part of this plan and was recently updated following the introduction of the vaccine in February 2021 in St. Lucia. The review allowed the team to identify the program's strengths and to identify the opportunities for improvement, as well as to assess and explore suitable responses to the program's limitations. As a result, it has been decided to undertake an accelerated COVID-19 vaccination drive. This drive will be undertaken for a 2-week period, October 25th to November 8th, 2021. The ministry continues to monitor the position of global public health authorities to improve management of COVID-19 at our local level. With the recent information on the benefits of booster doses of COVID-19 vaccines, and given that the shelf life of our current stock of vaccines shall be expiring in the coming month, the ministry has taken the decision to introduce a Pfizer booster dose. This shall be for the more vulnerable population groups, which include people 65 years and older, people living with underlying conditions, and frontline workers. The national COVID-19 vaccination protocol has been reviewed and updated. It now allows for booster doses of the Pfizer vaccine to be administered to this priority group, given the higher level of risk they are at for COVID-19 infection. In an effort to further protect the health and well-being of these individuals, the ministry has found it a priority to modify the current protocols to allow for the administering of booster doses as of Monday, October 25th, 2021. A booster is an additional dose of the vaccine given to an individual who has completed the recommended vaccine regimen. The booster provides an added level of protection to those who are most vulnerable to the virus and whose immune system would significantly benefit from this added protection. The booster doses will be administered 6 to 8 months after the second dose AstraZeneca and given to people 65 years and older, immune-compromised people 18 years and older, and frontline workers. The Ministry of Health anticipates a high demand for these booster doses, and in response to this, dedicated sites will be established for receiving this vaccine. Anyone wishing to receive this vaccine can have it administered at the following sites: Bruford Parish Hall, Wednesdays and Fridays; the CSS Center at Sanssouci, Mondays and Saturdays; Grosile Human Resource Center, Wednesdays and Thursdays; Miko Multipurpose Center, Tuesdays and Fridays; Denry Mothers Preschool, Fridays; Soufre Hospital, Thursdays; John Odlum Secondary School in Marigot on Saturdays; Babono Multipurpose Center, Mondays and Fridays. From Monday, October 25th, all other vaccination sites will continue to administer first and second doses of the AstraZeneca and Pfizer vaccines, with more days for vaccination from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. VG Sports Complex, Monday to Saturday; Grosile Human Resource Center, Tuesdays, Fridays and Saturdays; Bruford RC Parish Hall, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays at the Bruford Wellness Center; Larishus Constituency Council, Tuesdays, Thursdays and Saturdays; Lafag Wellness Center, Fridays and Saturdays; Labrie Wellness Center, Mondays and Wednesdays; Soufre Hospital, Mondays and Fridays. Vaccination will continue as routine at all other wellness centers. Vaccines continue to be effective in preventing disease and death. Vaccination has been one of the greatest public health successes in St. Lucia and the Caribbean region for decades. COVID-19 vaccines bring a similar hope for ending the pandemic. We encourage all who are eligible to get vaccinated to reduce the impact of the virus on us.
That message there from Julieta Frederick Cassius, the principal nursing officer, and as you heard, a review being done by the Ministry for Health regarding the national vaccination drive, and certainly accommodations now being made for us to have booster shots being delivered, and that's going to start first with those who are most at risk, those referring to our frontline workers, and then moving on to the other vulnerable groups in our society, the elderly, those who have underlying conditions and so forth. And so certainly we have joined the rest of the world, Helma, in being able to get those booster shots, and also that the government of St. Lucia making great strides in having St. Lucians have access to vaccines, and certainly giving the choice of Pfizer, AstraZeneca now. And speaking of what's happening for COVID-19 wise, school has reopened, and certainly I know it's a welcome for a lot of the parents, but the students as well. And although it's just select grades and forms, but the students, especially for those who, the examination is coming up, the grade 6, you have the Form 4s and 5s, so dealing with the CSEC, and so there's the level of anxiety that these students have at this time.
Very true.
Getting them to have the face-to-face instruction is critical at this point, Homer. Even though we know that by early December, within the first week or two of December, the school term would come to an end. But having them go to the classroom at this time for the next few weeks certainly will be able to ease off that sort of anxiety, be able to get that face-to-face instruction, the one-on-one time with the teachers, so that they can begin to feel comfortable that what they've been doing online and how they've been following classes online is actually beneficial to them, that they grasping all of the concepts. So I'm happy for the students.
Very true, Lisa. And what I also found is interesting, and kudos to the Ministry of Education for actually thinking about it, is the kindergarteners as well. They're entering the primary school level for the first time, and I thought for me it was interesting to kind of cement them within the school setting, the first opportunity, within a safe setting, because imagine starting school on the Zoom platform and getting used to homeschooling, and if you're in a home environment where all you get is the instruction on Zoom, when it comes to the time where you return to the classroom and you have to sit through a number of hours of instruction, it may be very difficult for the youngsters to adjust to that. So the fact that they were also being prioritized to return to the school setting, I thought was really, really good. I had the opportunity to stop by Camille Henry, just dropping off my nephew this morning, and the excitement that just filled the yard from the parents, also the staff. They seemed very excited to be back in the classroom setting, and the protocols were being followed, which I thought was really, really good. Ensuring the sanitizing going on, ensuring that the masks were being worn by parents coming in to drop off, ensuring that the parents don't stay too long engaging with the teachers to prevent the crowds. And so they're taking the protocols within the school setting seriously, and I hope that's what's being followed, throughout the other institutions as well.
I do hope so, and I think too that sometimes we don't give thought as as adults, the life of a child, but they are living a life, and like us, we want to feel that we're productive, and if you're out of work, you have that lethargic thing, you get to somewhat a bit of a depression happening and so forth. Sort of for students, and I really do believe that having the students in class to help with that social setting, although they are not allowed to socialize and frolic how they normally would, but just being able to be with their peers, that is more than good enough. And also to make them feel a sense of purpose within themselves, because just waking up and being in the house, and yes, you can get on your little device and say you're in class, but that frame of mind as well, that frame of mind is important. And so putting on that uniform helps with that excitement and going off and seeing the friends as well. And it also gives an ease, especially with the kindergartners, it gives an ease to the parents as well.
Very true.
It has been hard. It has been very, very difficult for parents at this time, with COVID and school being out. Because let's face it, not everyone is blessed with an extended family, and you can call an extended family member and say, listen, can you watch Jimmy for me today? I need to go to work, and so forth. So, or even having that disposable income for you to now have to pay someone to come and have to babysit and so forth. So it's a difficult road, and I know that the parents have welcomed this. I often hear people say that parents want school so they could come and dump their children. It's not a babysitting thing. No, it's not, but it is a safe environment where you can have your child for the hours that you're going to be at work. For most of the hours that you are at work, that your child is in a safe environment and being productive, learning the social skills as well as the academic skills. And it creates a little ease of mind for parents at this time, because as adults, lots of things are weighing on our minds right now, lots and lots of things.
Very true, Lisa. One important point I thought you made there is, considering the children in those situations. And I remember listening to a podcast, maybe it was a TED Talk, it was something, one of the podcasts, and they were speaking to how important schedules are to the brain development of children at a certain age. And it was interesting for me because I remember being in school and trying to figure out, where in my life would I have to follow a timetable, not understanding, how important schedules are for brain development. And they tell you at, the young age, it's one of the things that helps with tantrums, because you're not able to communicate your emotions, as an adult may be able to. So the schedules kind of keep your brain stable in that you have a sense of what's coming next. And they also talk about it at the teenage level, when you talk about your teenagers being rowdy and they go through a phase. What these professionals were saying was that at that time your brain is going through another set of development with puberty hitting. And so the schedules, within the school setting works very well for those children, because you may not be able to keep that as much as at home. Yes, you can have a home schedule, but it would take, again, the parents being very proactive in doing that. So the school setting, very, very important for the children and their development. And yeah, it's really good to see them returning to their classrooms, and hopefully it's something that we can maintain. We
can have across the board. And the one way that we can ensure that our students return to the classroom, because it is definitely needed. It is their life, in as much as home and myself and you want to go to work, the students want to go to school, it's their job. That's why I always saw the school that way. That's, when I was at school, that's my job, good grades, my salary. So let's hear from the Minister for Education, Honorable Sean Edwards, and he delivered an address as the school opens today.
Fellow St. Lucians, during my last address on September 12, 2021, which signaled the formal reopening of school, I was fully aware of the uncertainties that confronted the education sector. Whereas I was pleased that school was reopening, I was also cognizant of the range of issues surrounding the distributed learning approach, which I would have mentioned in my address back then. At that time, the number of active COVID cases in country was in excess of 2,400 and averaged about 150 new cases daily. During the period of initial reopening, the Ministry of Education continued to monitor the health situation and engaged stakeholders with a view to making the necessary preparations for face-to-face teacher-student interaction once the conditions were deemed safe by the Ministry of Health. On Monday, October 11th, the Minister responsible for Health, the Honorable Moses Jabatis, publicly announced that the Cabinet of Ministers, acting on the advice of the National COVID Management Committee, gave approval that allowed for the phased face-to-face opening of schools for the selected grade levels as of October 18th. In an effort to allow the stakeholders involved, including parents and teachers, to adequately prepare, the Ministry of Education found it necessary to sanction the phased face-to-face reopening effective October the 25th, 2021. In other words, the health authorities gave the all-clear for face-to-face classes to resume on Monday, October 18th. However, the Ministry of Education, in its wisdom, opted for Monday, October the 25th, so as to allow all concerned to prepare. The consensus amongst educators is that face-to-face schooling allows for more constructive engagements between students and teachers, and we are therefore pleased that conditions are now favorable to allow some of the critical grade levels, namely kindergarten, grade 6, Form 4, and Form 5, to return. We can all appreciate the challenges of the COVID environment on the education sector. As we reintegrate I wish to remind all that it cannot be business as usual. Let us be creative and innovative and not let our guard down as we seek to ensure that our nation's children are not further disadvantaged. Let us allow the teaching and learning process to be facilitated in an environment that caters for the unique challenges of students in an effort to ensure that no child is left behind. Parents, we know the challenges at your end. However, I urge you to be patient. I implore you to be steadfast in supporting your children in whatever modality they are engaged in, be it online, face-to-face, or the utilization of teacher-prepared packages. The sacrifices that you make will go a long way in your child's development. We note the dynamism of the current environment and the new shape of global education. As a government, we will do all that we can to ensure that our children are not left behind. We shall continue along the path of strengthening our e-education ecosystem by rolling out new initiatives and restoring previously conceived ones, such as the One Laptop Per Child program. We appreciate the inescapable role that technology plays in delivering quality education. And so in the coming weeks, we will intensify our efforts at sourcing more devices for the students and teachers in our school system. It is anticipated that during this academic year, we will provide between 7,000 and 10,000 devices to teachers and students in the school system. As the ministry continues its thrust in making the education system one which is more relevant, more inclusive, more equitable, and one which embraces and leverages new methods of instruction and learning, we shall continue to strengthen the other components of the system, including improved and more equitable access to Wi-Fi broadband and the provision of training opportunities for retooling and upskilling our educators. In collaboration with the Embassy of the Republic of China, Taiwan, the U.S. Embassy, and the A&M University in Texas, we will be training a cadre of teachers in cybersecurity and cyber safety with a view to protecting our students and teachers from the threats that exist online. The program is also intended to make our students and teachers more responsible users of the technology at their disposal. I cannot overemphasize the commitment to safeguarding the health and safety of all students, teachers, and staff. As mentioned in the ministry's last press statement, we solicit the support of all involved to ensure that the protocols delineated in the Education Continuity Plan are maintained. We also urge parents, guardians, students, and the wider community to continue observing the prescribed health protocols, as compliance will ensure that our students are not further disadvantaged. Principals, teachers, school counselors, we again ask for close monitoring of our students. Find the time to listen and understand their experiences in an effort to provide the necessary psychosocial support and other interventions required. Where possible, please provide the added support to students who have been most adversely impacted. There are some in our midst who are of the view that we should not be opening up for physical classes at this juncture. That assertion is wrong. Our decision to reopen is rooted in careful analysis of the situation in country by the competent authorities. Our children need to be in school where they rightfully belong. And for many, the school is the safest place to be. There will be challenges along the way as we strive for a full reintegration of students across the board. I'm hoping that by next week we will be in a position to announce the commencement of face-to-face classes for all remaining students. The situation at hand calls for us to be calm yet focused. We will not be deterred, neither shall we cower from the tough decisions to be made for the good of this country and ultimately for the benefit of our children. I wish all principals, teachers, support staff, students, and parents a successful return to face-to-face schooling. On behalf of the Honorable Prime Minister, my cabinet colleagues, the senior management team of the Ministry of Education, and on behalf of the citizens of our beloved country, I wish to thank our teachers, principals, ancillary and administrative staff for the tremendous and invaluable work that you have been doing throughout this challenging period, and I wish God's guidance and blessings upon you.
That's an address there by Minister for Education, Honorable Sean Edward. Of course, you're watching the morning update on the National Television Network with Lisa and Herma. Stay with us when we return. More on the reopening of schools.
Breast milk is the gold standard that cannot be emulated. It is the perfect food for your baby.
Breast milk provides antibodies and protective factors which may fight against COVID-19 should your baby be exposed.
Breastfeeding reduces the risk for premenopausal, breast and ovarian cancers.
Breastfeeding is the most natural way to feed your baby. Breast milk provides all the nutrients your baby needs for the first 6 months of life. It requires patience. However, your baby deserves the best and it's worth the effort.
Breastfeeding a baby up to 12 months improves jawbone development, thereby reducing misalignment of the teeth.
Breast milk is baby's first immunization. It protects against viruses, bacteria, and also prevents some chronic diseases.
If your child becomes sick with any illness, including COVID-19, it is very important that you continue breastfeeding.
A woman with COVID-19 should be supported to breastfeed her baby safely, hold her newborn skin to skin, and share a room with her baby.
After giving your baby only breast milk for the first 6 months of life, you can now slowly start introducing solid foods at the right textures. These include pureed vegetables, fruits, peas, and healthy cereals.
For more information, call the Nutrition Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness at 468-5359.
And welcome back. The morning update on the National Television Network with Lisa and Huma. Let me say good morning to you if you are viewing on channel 122. Always remember you could always catch up with us on our Facebook and our YouTube pages as well. That's Government of St. Lucia. And we're here always to inform you of what's happening, new developments within the public sector that can possibly, maybe make your day a little better, or at least keep you informed as to what's taking place. The South Louis Community College, actually, they've opened applications for January 2022. Applications to select programs at the South Louis Community College are open to the general public. And again, that is for January 2022 admissions. The college is providing yet another opportunity for citizens to access programs at the Bachelor Associate degree as well as certificate levels, including the Bachelor of Science in Nursing, which you can be sure during this time, during this COVID-19 era, is very, very important that we're boosting that sector. In addition to that, other programs on offer for January include a new program on climate smart agriculture. The program is geared towards developing agricultural entrepreneurs who are competent in both crop production techniques as well as the entrepreneurial approaches to agriculture. Graduates of this program will be able to identify and capitalize on business opportunities related to crop production with the goal of establishing viable agro-businesses within the input, supply, agricultural production, processing, and distribution sectors. Applicants can also access programs in business innovation and sustainable entrepreneurship, as well as digital humanities, new media and creative industries, engineering, and the circular economy, sustainable tourism and hospitality, professional and lifelong learning, and pre-college units as well. Of course, you can find a full list of programs and the application form available on the college's website, so you can give them a visit if you are looking to further your education, or somebody interested in administrating or entering rather South Louis Community College in January. You can check out www.salcc.edu.lc, and the deadline for applications is October 30th, 2021. So that's from South CC. And we did see South Wales Community College, you can hear with the programs there. They did a revamp of their programs that they're offering at the college. And so they're ensuring that it's more suitable to, you know, our society. So you hear climate smart agriculture, ensuring that we have the sustainability aspect there and ensuring that the entrepreneurial side of agriculture is also being taught. So not only growing it, but being able to market it and sell it as well. And so they are really taking an approach towards education to ensure that, you know, when you've left the institution, that you're really ready, you're prepared for the world of work.
Yes, and the college is, South Wales Community College is vibrant at this time. And as you pointed out, it is, you know, I think now that the college is fully aware of its role and its position, in not just in St. Lucia, but certainly regionally and internationally as well. And you can see the strides being made to be able to elevate again the standards and bring in or allowing the students to feel part of the bigger world and having access to what that bigger world is, and certainly having the bigger world access, you know, education here in St. Lucia, because those are the plans, being able, once it turns into university and having those sorts of opportunities. But I am indeed very, very happy to see the direction that the college is going in. And, you know, you don't have to be a full-time student. It's now making provisions for you to be, you know, through the certificate programs and so forth. Just schooling online, that's taking place as well. So you're not just speaking about the full-time students, part-time students as well, lifelong learning and so forth, all of that. So education playing indeed a very, very important part. You mentioned the nursing program, critical, not just because it's the COVID, but certainly too, Homer, that area there of in the medical field, there's a constant need for nurses, locally, regionally, internationally, a constant need. And I think too that very, very importantly, that we want more nurses who specialize in certain fields. That too is critical. So it's not just about the general nursing, but get that degree, but also move on to specialize in certain areas of nursing. So that is going to ensure that St. Lucia, that we are able to be, again, sustaining, self-sustaining. You mentioned the food there, and you know, the climate smart agriculture. And you know, I'm just thinking, you know, every weekend there, you're trying to go get some, you know, food done by the market. It's getting a bit tight.
And not only the market, even the supermarket.
Yes, it's getting a very, very scarce now.
It makes you want a home garden or to know somebody
who's doing the gardening
who knows
thing.
Somebody, yes. You want linkages at this point.
Don't look at me, Homer, like that, because I can't help you. I'm totally helpless in that area. You know, maybe I can read to the plants. I could do that, but you know, getting it into the earth there, that's not my thing at all.
That will help them grow.
No, it's not. I could do any other thing to try and help them grow, but you know, planting, I don't know.
That's not your thing.
I don't know what's wrong with it. I just can't. I don't have the hands for it.
You cannot be blessed in everything.
No, you just can't.
That.
Yes, I'm beginning to realize that now. It just can't be. So I'm just learning to accept my limitations.
At that point, we say good morning to our friends at Ministry of Agriculture. That's where we stop with that.
Absolutely. Now, before we go on, we just want to share again with you the message coming from the Ministry with regard to the phased reopening of schools today. And we do have a message from the District Medical Officer within the epidemiological unit, Dr. Delfina Dolong. She has some guidance for parents and students and teachers for the reopening of school with regards to the safe environment for COVID-19.
Between July and October, the Ministry of Health, Wellness and Elderly Affairs has been managing the fourth wave of the COVID-19 pandemic. One of the most significant impacts of this is the delay in the reopening of schools. In September, UNICEF approximated that 1.8 trillion hours of face-to-face learning had been lost, and more than 77 million students were out of school due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In St. Lucia, we have been fortunate to be able to incorporate blended learning into our schools, but we will appreciate that this is not without its challenges. The experience has varied widely for children across the island. Some may feel safe, have liberal access to food, education, security, and comfort. Others may be hungry, abused, dealing with lack of access to education, or loss of a loved one due to COVID. Schools provide a safe environment for students to learn, interact with peers and adults, establish friendships, learn and reinforce the values and morals that will shape their lives. Given the decline in our daily positivity and infection rates, the Ministry of Health has recommended a phased reopening of schools. What can we do to help our children prepare for this transition? Validate your child's feelings. Some may be excited, others scared or anxious. Children have to cope with all the changes related to the pandemic. Encourage them to talk about how they feel, listen to their concerns, and try to address them as best as you can. Identify coping strategies to deal with their feelings. Encourage them to maintain contact with friends and to ask for help when needed. Stay active and engaged in activities that they enjoy, such as swimming, bike riding, or learn new skills, such as cooking. Your child's routine may be different when they return to school. Start practicing these to make the transition smoother. Reinforce the protocols. Use age-appropriate terms and words that offer a positive connotation to help ease their fears. Example, safe space versus social distance. Review hand hygiene, cough and sneeze etiquette. Try to provide well-fitted masks and face shields. Practice to ensure these are worn properly. Although it is contrary to what we normally teach, speak to them about not sharing their supplies, food, and drinks. Many children present with atypical and vague symptoms of COVID-19, such as fatigue, headaches, decreased appetite, vomiting, or diarrhea. Ask and observe daily. Do not hesitate to take your child in for assessment. If a family member is having symptoms and got tested for COVID, household members should await results before returning to work and school. Maintain open communication with your child's teacher and principal. Ask questions and seek clarification. Practice kindness and empathy. Anyone can contract COVID. Speak to your child about teasing or bullying and encourage them to be supportive. Approximately 11% of diagnosed cases in St. Lucia are school-age children, most within the age range 12 to 17. The Pfizer vaccine became available in August and is approved for use in that age range. Even one dose significantly decreases the chances of contracting the virus. Please consider vaccination for your eligible children. Lastly, offer your child reassurance. Let them know that you are there to help keep them safe and that together you will face and manage any challenges that may come up. As our children prepare to return to school, I urge everyone to observe the protocols and let's all continue to play our part to ensure a safe return to school.
Message by Dr. Delfina Dolong within the Ministry of Health. She's a district medical officer. Some guidance there as our students return today to the classroom, albeit on a phased basis with select students, but quite easily we have them in the hundreds today returning to the classroom. So we're happy for that, Homer, on this Monday. Just before we leave, Homer, let's remind that we will be here for the rest of the week. We will be on from 10 a.m. and we will be doing a special sit-downs. We are taking the conversation, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, that is still ongoing. Sure. And so we're taking that conversation. Last time we had the panel and the time just was not enough. It's never enough. And to look at the various facets, we're looking at the psychological, nutritional, and certainly on the clinical aspect of breast cancer. And so tomorrow, Tuesday, we'll be having in studio with Herman and myself, Father Setut would be here, and for us to be able to speak about the psychological and emotional traumas, associated not just with breast cancer diagnosis, but, just throughout our lives, we deal with so many issues that can weigh on us and impact us psychologically and emotionally. So we'll have that conversation. And I'm also looking forward to be able to take it a step further and for us to talk about faith and so forth, and how that plays a factor in our lives and when we are faced with very difficult situations and, illness and so forth. So that's going to be a great conversation. And then on Wednesday, we'll be sitting down with the nutritionist. And these days, it's all about healthy eating. So we'll have that conversation more in depth on how our food can also be our medicine. In fact, it should be our first point for our medicine. So we'll talk about that and learning how to eat. Homer, we have to rethink. Yeah. Homer's giving me an eye. You won't be. Homer's like, what? What do I have to give up? She's like, I could see those wheels turning there, Homer, as I spoke about the nutrition.
Lisa, yes, my wheels were actually turning because as much as I love my desserts and I love the sweet stuff, and there are times that is what you want to go through. I feel like I've gotten to a point where you understand the importance of healthy eating, and I feel like my cravings are kind of leaning towards the less of the sweet things and general.
But there are good sweets as well, and that we can have that conversation tomorrow, because sometimes we think healthy eating means we have to deny. I used to think that healthy eating means denying yourself certain treats, but no. And sometimes some of the things that we believe are good, not necessarily so.
And for you as well. So fruits, for example, you were giving a very good example. There are certain fruits that are generally, people think fruits are great, and they are, but based on who you are and what your maybe medical condition is, or just physically, you want to select what's right for you.
Yes, you have to, or else it can be detrimental. And too much of a good thing, there's such a thing, It's all about creating balance.
So
we'll learn how to create that balance with the nutritionist when she comes in on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, we're going in with the really heavy conversation on the clinical aspect of things. And perhaps if we're able to, perhaps we could start maybe a little before the 10. Let's see how the doctor's schedule, Dr. Owen Gabriel's schedule, can really match up. If you can come in at 9:30, then we'll begin at 9:30 to give us that extra time, because it's really, really important. There's some statistics that we'll have to share with you as well. Breast cancer is certainly the lead cause of death in women here in St. Lucia. It's very, very staggering. And the age group as well. I mean, women as young as 24. 25 dying from breast cancer. So that's going to be some very deep conversation. It's going to be heavy, but it's going to be insightful and helpful to you, so that when you recognize certain changes within your body, then you can say, aha, this is something I need to go check and check it out. Yes?
Very true.
So I'm always saying, a friend of mine says, oh, you people talk about these things, I get so scared. They said, no, it's not about you being scared. The information is not supposed to scare you. It is supposed to empower you, to help you put into action. That's what is. Knowledge is power.
Very
so
true.
Don't feel scared when we're having the conversation. Be empowered by it. Knowledge is power.
That's a very good point there, Lisa. And I think it's a nice note for us to kind of just
wrap it up with a great big bow, Homer.
Yeah.
Oh. Only as you can. That would do it for us here for this Monday morning. Thank you so much for spending the time with us. We've been very pleased to bring you some of that information, Homer.
Yes, of course, and be sure to join us tomorrow as we bring you loads of information. Again, equipping you to to take charge and just empowering you to live the best life that you can. So this was the morning update with Lisa and Herma. It's Monday morning and we're wishing you the very best, productive day and a week to come. Thank you.
See you Tuesday, 10 a.m.
Yes, for sure.